Cuban Revolution marked the beginning of a stream of intellectual communist thought which caused an awakening in Latin American communities who remained depressed, powerless, and without social benefits.
Los Estados Unidos, viendo el peligro de la creciente ideología soviética en Latinoamérica,
the United States, viewing the growth of Soviet ideology in Latin America as a threat,
instaló gobiernos militares que buscaron acallar descontentos sociales a través de represión, tortura y muerte.
Installed military governments that aimed to silence those who were discontent with or disagreed with the government by means of repression, torture, and death.
Ejemplos: Pinochet en Chile, Ríos Montt en Guatemala, El Salvador, Somoza en Nicaragua.
Some examples of this would be Pinochet in Chile, Ríos Montt in Guatemala, the regime in El Salvador, and Somoza in Nicaragua.
La guerra interna en los países latinoamericanos, la persecución, la tortura y la muerte, y la descomposición social.
The domestic warfare within Latin American countries, the persecution, torture, deaths, and social disintegration.
A esto ha dado paso a la inmigración desde los fines de los años 60.
Have all contributed to the massive wave of immigration from these countries that started at the end of the 1960s.
Illegal immigration is driven by global forces. Global policies need to be changed to address the new international economic and social reality. For example, trade policies like NAFTA have led to the economic devastation of communities in Mexico, contributed significantly to immigration and hurt workers in Virginia. Virginia can advocate for ending unfair trade agreements instead of militarizing the border region or criminalizing immigration, which would make our communities safer on both sides of the border.
The problem is that our borders are porous. The process for legal immigration and guest workers either does not exist or is overly burdensome, and employers who need access to labor to grow the economy are stuck with a broken and outmoded verification process. We are not in favor of illegal immigration. It's time for Congress to address this issue in a realistic, rational manner through comprehensive immigration reform.
I find our immigrant employees to be hardworking, respectful, and polite. With rare exception, they are good people trying to make a better life for themselves and their families. Our plant workers make nearly $11 an hour. We offer a competitive health insurance plan, 401k, 7 paid holidays, vacation, dental, vision, short and long-term disability. These are not minimum wage jobs. We treat our employees well because it's the right thing to do and it's good business. VPGC is not in favor of illegal immigration. We favor a federal response to this issue. We need to secure our borders and develop a better system for employers to determine a potential employee's immigration status.
Mass immigration indeed benefits some in our society among those who profit from cheap labor. But many others lose. Among the losers are taxpayers who must subsidize the public costs of immigrants. One reason is that immigrants receive public assistance at a much higher rate than the native born. For a local illustration, industries around Harrisonburg may benefit from immigrant workers, but local schools must provide their children with ESL instruction that costs local taxpayers $1.5 million a year. This is a public subsidy to private enterprise. Other losers are working Americans, people who still do most of the jobs that Americans allegedly refuse to do. But mass immigration makes it harder for them to do their jobs. Immigration significantly reduces the wages of working Americans, particularly those with limited skills and education.
While recognizing our legal and I believe moral obligations to provide educational services for all students who enroll in our schools, and without questioning the many, many positives that are a part of having a very diverse student body, I am nevertheless compelled to inform you tonight that doing so does come at a substantial monetary cost. I don't yet have the final data for this immediately past school year, 2007-2008, but in the previous year, our school division spent just over $3 million on direct or related services for ELL students. 2/3 of that amount, or just over $2 million, can be tracked to local expenditures. The greatest cost, of course, was to provide services for the approximate 650 level 1 and level 2 students that we have.
We are urging you, as others have, to go back and say that we should not be making these 287G agreements. Nationally, these have only resulted in processing 35,000 people in the whole nation. for those who like the idea, you're still not getting much from it.
Part of this process, some information about the success of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department's implementation of Section 287G, a provision in federal law that allows our sheriff to perform the functions of an immigration officer. The sheriff emphasizes that 287G is used only against criminal aliens, and that about 200 criminal aliens have been deported in the past 10 months. I would suggest, however, that the largest effect of the program has been to place more distrust and fear between law enforcement and an already vulnerable portion of our community. First of all, you need to understand that the sheriff for several years has had a close working relationship with immigration. Even before 287G, they were doing a great job of deporting drug dealers and violent offenders from the Rockingham County Jail. The biggest difference that 287G has made is that many more immigrants committing traffic infractions and very minor offenses are being deported. Let me explain. Police officers, when writing any simple traffic ticket, speeding, driving without a license, running a red light, have the discretion under Virginia Criminal Code either to A, issue a summons, which they usually do for me, or B, take the driver before a magistrate. Some officers seem to exercise their discretion to take the driver to jail only when the driver is Hispanic. Not all officers do this, but some do. Because the immigration status of every immigrant is now checked as part of the booking process, any undocumented immigrant who is taken there will be jailed and deported.
And I want to use this opportunity to share a few of my own thoughts as a longtime resident of Virginia. Expanded law enforcement powers used to arrest, detain, and deport immigrants do not make me feel safer. They divide families and communities, divert resources from public education, public transportation, public health services, and they distract us from the real problems that we face.
We're policing national immigration enforcement through 287G, and there are fundamental concerns with civil rights, enforcement, security, and accountability that I frankly believe police institutions have concerns with. You have an opportunity to speak to our congressional delegation, and I invite you to do so. We're going to help you. Thanks.